Today we'll be covering the best lounges across Walt Disney World property, including the parks, resorts, and Disney Springs. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Lucy.
Today is Tuesday, January 28th, and you're listening to episode 73, Best Lounges in Walt Disney World. Before we get into today's main topic, here's what's going on in the parks right now. It's fairly light news-wise this week, given that it's only Tuesday, but we're already just a few short weeks away from Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot, and Disney Parks blog shared the lineup of the Garden Rocks concert series, which is returning for this year. The festival will start on March 5th and run through June 2nd. The festival will feature internationally recognized artists as well as local bands who will perform nightly at the America Gardens Theater. Last month, they shared the March artists, but now the full schedule is up on their website. As always, there are returning favorites and new faces as well. You'll be able to see Sugar Ray, Simple Plan, Jody Messina, Mile Delguadis, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm butchering it. A Flock of Seagulls, Taylor Dane, 98 Degrees, Played White Tees, John Cicada, Maverick City Music, The Spinners, The Pointer Sisters, The Outlaws, Don Felder from the Eagles, The Cat Empire, and We the Kingdom. Check out the dates on the Disney Parks blog website to see who will be performing during your trip.
Disney also released their Valentine's Day foodie guide. Amorette's Patisserie, The Ganachery, Summer House on the Lake, and Vivali il Gelato are all getting Valentine's Day themed treats. Woody's Lunchbox is getting a chocolate-covered strawberry lunchbox tart, which is strawberry crisps, pink pearls, and heart sprinkles on top. Yeah, very cute.
It is, and I think I might have to try that one. It's been like, it's got to been like,
it'll be out when you're there, I guess.
Yes,
hey, yeah,
but it's
true.
Also been like 4 or 5 trips since we've had one of those.
We had one on our first trip after the pandemic.
Yeah, and I don't think we've had one since.
No, and I'm sure our kids would love it too. We could probably get one there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Mara at Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Petit Cafe at the Riviera, and Pineapple Lanai at Polynesian will also have themed treats. Make sure to check these out if you're there next month.
Yeah, absolutely. And first thing you might have noticed here is that we're recording this in advance, so several days earlier than we normally do. This is because I'm leaving early Friday morning for Disney, so we had to record this before I left so that it's ready to go for Tuesday, February 4th, which is when this episode will launch. As you're listening to this, I should be in Epcot. This week, though, I'll be packing and getting any last-minute things together so that I'm ready to go Thursday night. Friday morning, bright and early, I'll have a quick breakfast and head to the airport. It's actually working out perfectly, too, because my in-laws are coming in back from visiting Lucy's sister later on Friday, so I'll take their vehicle, park it at the airport, and it'll be there for them to drive themselves home when they get in.
Yeah, it worked out really well. And I'm actually really glad that my parents are going to be back in town because with Oliver away, it's always nice to have those extra set of hands, especially with our kids' activities on the weekend. Our Saturday especially is jam-packed in the morning. So my mom and dad will help me with that. And then on another note, our basement renovations are going well so far. We're into the second week. The framing is done, as well as the wiring and the plumbing. So the drywall will be next. It's actually moving along pretty smoothly so far. They got a good chunk of it done this morning. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I'm really, really looking forward to this being done. We actually ordered a couple of standing desks. We chose Effie Desks. That's like the company. And I'm really excited to get the studio all set up down there. It's going to be great when it's done. Absolutely. With that said, let's get into today's main topic, which is the best lounges across Walt Disney World property. Now, we've previously covered many of the lounges on property whenever we've brought up dining in general, but we wanted today to be kind of like a unified place where you can kind of come and listen to see what are some of the best lounges on property. Lounges are great for couples, sure, but also for families. I think there might be a bit of a connotation that, you can't take your kids to the lounges on property. That's just not the case at all. Certain lounges don't allow kids, but these are few and far between. So for the most part, you definitely can. Yeah. And one of my friends from work, he's the one that brought this up. He said, you know what? You two need to do a podcast episode on where I can go have a beer when I have my kids with me. So Chad, here you go. Yeah, exactly. So if you're wondering why you would stop at a lounge versus a table service restaurant, there's a few reasons for this. So one, for the most part, lounges don't require advanced dining reservations, while it's the opposite for table service restaurants. Most do require advanced dining reservations. Two, they will often have some of the same menu items as a table service restaurant that they're attached to, if that applies. Also, if the restaurant has a prefix menu, you'll be able to order a la carte items from the lounge. And three, some lounges are really, really great and like super well themed and are definitely worth experiencing like any other worthy experience on Disney World property. Absolutely. So let's kick things off at Magic Kingdom. And starting really strong here, there are actually no lounges at Magic Kingdom. Actually, you weren't even able to purchase alcohol at all in the parks until 2012, which is when it was first introduced at the table service restaurants in the park. And that's how it remains to this day in 2025. But having said that, there are 2 new lounges that will be opening in this park in 2025. The first is Mick Kim's Mile House, which will be in the space where the Frontier Shooting Arcade used to be until recently. This will actually be a DVC member exclusive lounge, so not everyone's going to be able to experience this one. But there will also be a new Pirates of the Caribbean themed tavern that will open near the attraction in Adventureland later this year as well. We've only seen concept art for this one so far, but we know they will have awesome fun drinks and light bites. It's not yet been announced if alcohol will be served here, so only time will tell on that. Regardless, I'm sure it'll be very well themed based on what Disney has shared so far, so we can only assume it'll definitely be worth a visit when it opens for park guests.
Yeah, 100%. And we definitely will. We are not DVC members as of this recording, so we won't be able to go through McKim's Mile House, but we will definitely be checking out. I don't even think it has a name yet. They haven't announced a name, but it's going to be Pirates of the Caribbean
themed.
Yeah, and it's going to be like near the attraction. I think like close to where Tortuga Tavern currently is.
I agree.
Next up, let's head to Hollywood Studios. So you've got a few options in this park. One of our favorites on all of Disney property is Baseline Tap House, which is located near the walkway that leads to the Muppets Courtyard and Galaxy's Edge. It has a bit of indoor seating, but most of it is outside. The space has a minimalist kind of theming.
Yeah.
It's really
craft brew house if you've ever been to one.
It's not much of anything inside, but they do have a really good selection of craft beers, cocktails, wine, and spirits. And they also have a really good charcuterie board and warm pretzels served with beer cheese and mustard. Both are really good options that we thoroughly enjoy. They also have spiced almonds on the menu, which we've never tried, but how bad could that be? We like to stop here, have a drink and a light bite, and people watch. We haven't come here with the kids, but we've seen plenty of kids here. So again, don't feel like you can't bring your kids here.
Absolutely. So next up is Oga's Cantina. Now this place is obviously very, very popular when it first opened. And then for a long time, it's really, really hard to get reservations here. And it's one of the few lounges that you do need to make reservations for. You are also limited to 45 minutes inside as well, so you can't spend forever in there even if you wanted to. The atmosphere inside is the reason to come here. It's heavily themed to Star Wars, like very heavily, complete with a robot DJ, exposed rock interior. The place is a vibe for sure and is definitely worth checking out. On the menu, they have a wide selection of both alcoholic and non-alcoholic cocktails. We've actually tried a few of these on the menu. Our favorites so far are definitely the Bespin Fizz and the Fuzzy Tauntaun.
Yep, agreed. The Bespin Fizz is like kind of like reddish and it has like, I don't know how they do it, but it's like fizzy, like big bubbles.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's very tasty. The Fuzzy Tauntaun will make your lips numb.
Yes, it's the foam that they put on top. Yeah.
You can't avoid the numbness, but it goes away. The kids had the Hyperdrive and Jabba Juice, and they both really, really enjoyed it. They really thought this was so fun in there.
Yeah, they did have a blast.
Yeah,
like,
they
Sophia
were just
was like
dancing and
finger up in the air, like vibing. It was awesome.
They were feeling the vibes for sure.
Yeah.
So their food offerings here are quite limited, but they have revamped their menu as of last year, and it's now gotten much better. They have the Hapabor Sampler, which is their take on a charcuterie board, and it's better than their original version. That's definitely for sure. They've upped their game there.
Yeah, guaranteed. Yep.
They also have their Thruster Roasted Bantha Flatbread, which is a non-flatbread topped with spicy chorizo beef and a 4-cheese blend, and the Umbaran Cheese Roll, which is a spice-dusted pretzel bun stuffed with herbed cheese and dipping sauce. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those. Yeah,
no, 100%. Like I heard that cheese bun we haven't had it yet, but that it's really good. So maybe I'll try it this time.
Yes.
You've also got the Tune-In Lounge, which is the lounge attached to 50s Primetime Cafe. So the 50s theming continues in this space, and the cast members are great here as well. They serve a good selection of cocktails with some fun themed ones like Dad's Electric Lemonade and the Tune-In PB&J cocktail, as well as some non-alcoholic beverages, including their milkshakes. You can also order a la carte items from the restaurant next door, like the fried chicken, which is a great way to enjoy some of the offerings without committing to the whole table service experience.
And the last one we'll mention here in this park is the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge, which is obviously attached to the Hollywood Brown Derby restaurant. The theming here is nothing really to write home about, but they really do have a nice outdoor seating where you can just kind of sit down, relax, and people watch. But the best part, of course, are the drinks and the food. You can get a lot of the food from the restaurant here, including their very famous Cobb salad and grapefruit cake. They also have a solid selection of appetizers and really good cocktails, as well as beer and wine. This is a signature restaurant, so prices reflect that, but it's definitely a good option because you don't need advanced dining reservations and it's generally not too difficult to get a table here.
Yeah, agreed 100%. Now switching gears and we're heading over to Animal Kingdom. So here you've got Nomad Lounge, which is the lounge attached to Tiffin's.
This is our second favorite.
Yeah, 100%. It's got indoor and outdoor seating, but you definitely want the outdoor seating here. It's a beautiful patio space that overlooks the greenery and water that passes kind of under the bridge when you're heading towards Pandora from Discovery Island. It's a really nice, quiet, and kind of serene atmosphere, and it's definitely worth a stop here. It also happens to have some stellar cocktails and really, really delicious bites from the kitchen at Tiffin's next door. Some of our personal favorites for cocktails are the Sinaloa Sangria and the High Tower Rocks. That's our go-tos. And we also really enjoy the bread service here. It's not as good or as extensive as the bread service at Sanaa at Animal Kingdom Lodge, but it's still worth getting. The churros are also really good here. One of our go-to spots for sure, and we have taken the kids here as well, and they enjoyed it. It's a must-do in our opinion.
Over in the Africa section of the park, you've got the Dawa Bar. This open-aired bar is attached to the Tusker House restaurant. Lots of folks will grab a drink here while they're actually waiting for their table next door. So having said that, you don't need reservations for this one, though. You can sit at the bar, the outdoor seating area, and it's first come, first serve. They have a selection of specialty cocktails as well as beer and wine. The Harambe iced tea and African margarita are definitely good choices on the menu here. We like this place. Its vibe fits perfectly in Animal Kingdom in that it feels very relaxed and it's a nice place to grab a drink and just get off your feet for a while. It's not overly themed or like in your face. It's just a really solid place to chill for a beat.
Yeah, agreed 100%. All right, next up, we're heading to Epcot and we'll start off in the Mexico Pavilion at La Cava del Tequila. So this lounge is located inside the Big Pyramid at the pavilion. It's the perfect place to get out of the sun on a hot Epcot day and relax with a cold margarita inside the darkened space. It's fairly limited seating here and it is like super popular, so it can be hard to get a table, but the drinks and small bites are definitely worth it. I'm partial to the avocado margarita, and if you're thinking, this sounds like a weird flavor for a margarita, I felt the same way until I tried it. Yeah. It doesn't taste like avocado, but it's like nice and smooth and like almost creamy, but not in a way that's like off-putting on a really hot day. Pair that with some delicious fresh chips and guac, and you've got a winner for sure.
Absolutely. And then over in the UK Pavilion, you've got the Rose and Crown Pub, which is of course attached to the Rose and Crown table service restaurant. You do need advanced dining reservation for the restaurant, but not for the pub. The space is themed well with dark wood, brass accents, and a classic walk-up bar, as well as some limited seating. They offer a really good selection of pub blends, Scotch whiskey, and a good selection of cocktails and wines. And there's no shortage of options here, and you should certainly be able to find something that you'll enjoy. We really like the atmosphere in here, and it's definitely a good place to stop for a drink, especially on a hot Epcot day when you're tired from walking around the World Showcase. You just need a break.
Yeah, exactly. And over in the Italy Pavilion, you've got Tutto Gusto wine cellar. So the space is really well themed and definitely feels like a cellar with exposed brick, like a large kind of fireplace and chandeliers that make the space kind of feel like, not dingy, but like cave-like, right? And on their menu, they have over 200 wines, but they also have cocktails and beer as well. And if you're feeling peckish, you can order some of the items from the Tutto Italia restaurant, like small plates of meats, cheeses, panini, pasta, and desserts. And going back towards the front of the park, you've got the Space 220 Lounge. This is actually right next to the Mission Space attraction. That's right. Like it's like to the right. The attraction's on the left.
It's kind
of
hidden.
And the restaurant, 100% it is. It's like
yeah.
It's like way back there. But anyways, you do need advanced dining reservations for the lounge here. But what's really great about the lounge is that you get the same experience as the full restaurant, but with a lower price tag. So you'll still get a ticket to the elevator that's going to take you up to the Centauri space station with that. Like that's an experience in and of itself. And then you're also going to be seated in the same dining room, albeit a little bit further away from the windows, but you still have a great view of the restaurant as a whole. And you'll be able to order from the prefix menu, but you'll be able to pick and choose certain items and not be on the hook for the full prefix price, which is awesome. They have really fun space-themed cocktails and bites here, but don't let the names fool you. It's just like a fun spin on some classics, right? We've been here 3 times now, twice with the kids in the dining room and once just us in the lounge. And they were all 3 times. It was a great experience.
Our son is slowly questioning, did we really go up in space?
Yeah, so the last 2 times we've been able to convince him, no, buddy, we went to space. It's
come on now.
Yeah, and
believe.
We were just talking about it the other day, actually, and he's like, I don't think we went to space. And I'm like, well, what makes you think that?
Yeah, he's slowly questioning it all. And then one thing we want to mention as well is there is a Spaceship Earth themed lounge coming to the park later this year as well. It was announced with the Pirates of the Caribbean Tavern going in at Magic Kingdom, but this lounge will be a little bit fancier. The concept art looks really good and the decor looks elegant, so it should really be a beautiful space. It'll have large windows overlooking the World Showcase and the lagoon beyond, and it's sure to have wonderful fireworks views. We're really excited for this one and what it's going to look like all in all. So note that this is not an exhaustive list of all the places you can grab a drink in Epcot because there's just way too many. It's a much longer list.
That would be a huge, huge list. All right, now let's head out of the parks and into the resorts. And we'll start on the monorail loop. So first, we're heading to the California Grill Lounge at the Contemporary Resort. The lounge is in the same space as the main restaurant with the same great views and the beautiful space on the top floor of the resort. The lounge is first come, first served and doesn't require advanced dining reservations. And just like Space 220, the dining room is a prefix menu, but if you're seated at the lounge, you can order a la carte menu items. This is a signature restaurant, so that means it's an expensive experience. So this is kind of a good way to get your foot in the door and maybe save a few dollars in the process.
And then way downstairs, you've got the Steakhouse 71 Lounge, which is attached to the restaurant of the same name. It has a very similar decor and color palette, and it doesn't require advanced dining reservations, which is a bonus. It has a good selection of cocktails, and while they don't have a full menu, they do have many of the most popular options from the restaurant, including the Stack Burger, which is a lunch menu favorite for many guests, yourself included, I do
100%,
believe.
I loved it. Yeah.
We were here once and we really enjoyed it. We would definitely go back.
Yeah, agreed 100%. Now, over at the Polynesian Village Resort, you've got the hugely popular Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. So this is located on the ground floor, kind of tucked away in a hallway off the main lobby. When you come
Past
to
the bathrooms.
100%. Like when you come to the door, if you don't know it's there, you might miss it altogether. That's how unassuming it is. But there's a party going on inside. We can guarantee you that.
Yes, big time.
This is possibly the best themed lounge on all of Walt Disney World property. The inside has a kind of like tiki theme with Kraken technicals coming out of the ceiling and windows showcasing different weather. It's really hard to put into words, but there's a lot going on in this space. Let's leave it at that for now. The menu features some super fun drinks, and depending on what you order, it'll trigger different reactions from the cast members or the lounge itself. We don't want to give too much away because just being in there is an experience. It's definitely worth visiting at least once. A couple of things to note is that it's really popular, so it can be really hard to get a table, and it doesn't take advanced dining reservations. So we suggest getting your name on the wait list nice and early and exploring the resort while you're waiting. And know that kids are welcome here, but after 8 p.m., it becomes 21 and older. So if you want to bring your kids here, you certainly can. It just has to be a little bit earlier in the evening.
And then a side note with the Grog Grotto and also Oga's Cantina, be prepared to sit with other people.
Yeah.
That is a big one because if you don't know that and you go in, that's something you do not like. You're going to be thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah.
You will be either standing when you're at Oga's Cantina or sitting with a group of people or standing even very close to people too.
Yep. They have kind of like big standing tables. So you could be standing directly next to another party or kind of sandwiched between people at the bar.
Yes. Or in the booths with another family.
And that's happened to us before.
And that's the same with Sam's Grog Grotto as well. We shared a booth essentially with two other people.
Yeah.
And then they left.
It was a couple of DVC members, like an older couple.
No, it was a granddaughter and a grandma.
And then it was the DVC couple. Yeah, you're right.
Couple,
but either way, we sat with two different parties during the time we were in there.
We were fine with that, but you just have to prepare yourself that is the situation at those
you're
two.
Right. Very, very good point.
And just upstairs, right next to Ohana, is the Tambu Lounge. This is one of our favorite lounges on property, not because the theming is amazing, because it's honestly nothing special, but after 4 p.m., you can get the famous Ohana menu items here without the need for the reservation or the high price tag. They have things like the Ohana noodles, the pot stickers, and the bread pudding. 3 of the best things there anyways.
Exactly. Yeah.
They also have a really fun selection of cocktails as well. Some of the same that they have over at the restaurant and at Trader Sam's Grog Grotto downstairs. We'll also quickly mention here that very recently in December of 2024, the Island Tower, which is the new DVC tower at the Polynesian, opened to guests. They have a lounge here named the Wailulu Bar and Grill. We can't speak to how it is personally since we've never been there, but initial reactions are positive. They have a huge menu with options that should appeal to most, if not all, people that has fun cocktails, beers, and wine.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be coming here either for dinner or lunch next week for sure.
Yes,
I'm going to go check it out.
We'll have a full report.
I have to go to the tower. I would just want to be able to walk through there.
And take some video.
Exactly.
For sure.
And sliding on over one more stop on the monorail, we're heading to the Grand Floridian Island Resort. Here you're going to find the Enchanted Rose Lounge, which, as you may have guessed, is themed to Beauty and the Beast.
My favorite.
Now, the theming is subtle here, but there are clear nods to the film if you're a fan. You'll certainly be able to appreciate that. The lounge is refined with blue and yellow kind of color palette, reminiscent of Belle's dress and the Beast's suit. They also have an extensive drink menu here with specialty cocktails, beers, wines. They also have a good selection of light bites like charcuterie, flatbreads, olives, nuts, dips, and similar items.
And just down the hall, you have Citrico's, which is a beautiful restaurant. And of course, they have an attached lounge as well. The restaurant has subtle Mary Poppins theming that is found in the lounge as well. The restaurant recently reopened after refurbishment last year, and it looks really, really good in there. The menu features a great selection of cocktails and mocktails, and then you can get many of the same menu items as the main restaurant. So again, a really great way to get that similar experience without the need for a reservation. And again, you're definitely going to save a few dollars when you do the lounge.
Yeah, almost certainly, for sure. All right, next up, let's head to the Wilderness Lodge. So this resort is not on the monorail loop, but it is in the Magic Kingdom Resort area. It's a short boat ride away from Magic Kingdom. Here you have the Territory Lounge, which is right next door to Storybook Dining at Artist Point. No Snow White theming here, though. The lounge is more in keeping with the theme of the resort as a whole. So like think Pacific Northwest influence with like exposed wood and darker color palette. This decor itself is fairly low key, but it's a nice quiet place to enjoy a good drink and some light bites. We love the Wilderness Lodge. And while this specific lounge isn't necessarily a place we'd go out of our way to experience, if you're staying here, it's definitely a good option. On the menu, they have charcuterie, a flatbread, and other good appetizers, as well as a good selection of cocktails, beer, and wine.
And then outside near the pool, you've got the Geyser Point Bar and Grill. And folks, this is a destination-worthy spot.
Yes, this one is for sure.
This is number 3 on our list, if not 2. I don't know. The top three there for us.
Yeah.
This is an open-aired space that looks out onto Bay Lake and then the resort grounds. It doesn't require advanced dining reservation, and while it is classified as a lounge, it's got a very extensive and delicious menu. The bison cheeseburger is a staple here, and we have tried the chicken wings, the steak sandwich, among several other options, and everything we've had here has been great. They also have some delicious cocktails. The Huckleberry Punch, the Cascadia Sangria cocktail, and the Sunset Margarita are all great options. We really, really love this place. We have taken breaks from Magic Kingdom just to come here for lunch, and we ate here when we stayed there last year with the kids, and we definitely recommend this place. Even the kids enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think they had like just small burgers with fries.
And they were happy as can be.
It was a hit. Yeah, exactly. All right, next up, let's head to the boardwalk area just outside of the International Gateway entrance. We've said this before, but this is a beautiful area of Walt Disney World, and it also sports some great lounges and nightlife. First up, we're heading to the Crew Cups Lounge at Disney's Yacht Club. This is located next to the Yachtman Steakhouse restaurant. The restaurant has a regal feel with natural wood accents, exposed wooden beams, and rich kind of red color accents. As you may have guessed, their menu features some favorites from the restaurant, like the Yachtman signature bread service, as well as the wedge salad, charcuterie board, among many other options. They have a good selection of cocktails and beer, and then an extensive list of scotches, cognac, if that's more your speed.
And then literally just down the hall, you've got the Ale and Compass Lounge, which is located right next to the restaurant of the same name. This place has that nautical theming with dark blue accents throughout, and then the brass-colored tables and chairs. They also have a good selection of light bites, as well as some fun-themed cocktails like Captain's Mai Tai, the Seaworthy Breeze, and Spicy Pomegranate Margarita. Both of these places have a calm, relaxed vibe to them, and if you're looking for that midday break from Epcot or Hollywood Studios, they're both really good options.
Yeah, agreed 100%. And now across from Crescent Lake, near the Flying Fish restaurant, you've got Abracadabra. Okay, so the theming of this lounge is a nod to illusionists, magicians, and magicians' assistants. The space kind of has a dark color palette and accents, and there are frames and like kind of hidden tidbits in the space with nods to the lounge's theming of magic. They have a very small menu of sliders, lump crab fries, and artisanal cheeses, as well as a selection of fun-themed cocktails like the Whodunits Punch, the Sour Assistant, and the Conjurita. It's a fun place to stop for a drink when you're visiting the boardwalk area, that's for sure. It's actually right next to the boardwalk in resort itself,
yes,
right
perfect.
Next to the new cake bake shop, essentially.
It's a perfect little spot.
Yeah.
And then a little further up the boardwalk, you've got Jelly Rolls, which is right across from the Atlantic Dance Hall. This bar is not like any of the others we've mentioned so far. This is a 21 and over lounge, so no children allowed here at all times. It's typically open from 7 p.m. to 1:45 a.m., and there is a cover charge of $22 to enter as well. It's not going to be for everyone, and it does get quite loud in here, but if you're a fan of some good 70s, 80s, and 90s music and live piano artists, you're going to love this place. Guests really get into the vibe here and start singing as well. So if you're willing to just let loose and have a little bit of fun, it can definitely be a good time.
Yep, agreed 100%. All right, next up, let's head to the Animal Kingdom Lodge Resort. And we're heading to Victoria Falls Lounge. So this lounge is located in the lobby of the resort, kind of about like a half floor down between the main floor and the lower lobby. So it kind of sits like in between. You go down like a set of stairs.
Yep.
The lounge is there, and then more stairs, and then you're kind of on the lower.
There, yeah,
exactly. So from the lobby, you can look down into the lounge, and you look up at it if you're eating at Boma, like Lucy said, on the lower level. Given that it's in the lobby, the theming matches perfectly with the resort with dark wood accents and a kind of a regal feel to the space. We love the location on this one because it feels quiet, but at the same time, you're in the middle of the action. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yes.
The menu features rotational seasonal bites, so check with your server to see what's available when you're visiting. They also have specialty cocktails and beer and wines as well. We wouldn't say this is destination worthy, but it's definitely worth stopping here if you're actually staying here.
Oh, absolutely. And we'd be remiss if we took you to Animal Kingdom and didn't mention the Sanaa Lounge. This is located right next to Sanaa, which is actually in the Kidani Village section of the resort, not the main lobby. You can walk here or take the internal shuttle. We love Sanaa because the restaurant has awesome savannah views and great food. But if you want a similar experience at a lower price and not have to worry about reservations, you can come for the lounge. They have menu items at the restaurant, including the very wildly popular bread service, which is the best on all of Disney property, in our opinion, and 100% worth getting and then heading over to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Like, you will not be disappointed with the bread service. They also have a fun selection of drinks and cocktails as well. This one is definitely, like I said, destination worthy. We've come here just for the bread service and a really good, refreshing drink.
Yeah, 100%. Like it is, the Animal Kingdom Lodge, like itself, is a really beautiful resort.
Just to walk around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's worth coming to check out if you've never been.
You should.
And then, if you find yourself at Kidani Village, definitely swing by the lounge, have the bread service. It's 100% worth it.
Yes.
Next up, we're heading to Coronado Springs, which, if you've been listening for a while, is one of, if not our favorite resort on all of Disney property. And that's in no small way impacted by the stellar dining options they have here. Three Bridges Bar and Grill at Villa del Lago at Coronado Springs is quite possibly our favorite dining spot, like anywhere on property.
Mm-hmm.
This is located literally at the intersection of Three Bridges, hence the name, in the lagoon at the resort. It has covered open air seating with 360-degree views of the beautiful grounds, and it's really such a great atmosphere. Again, it's a go-to for us. Their menu has solid bites like the white queso dip, the roasted corn dip, the crispy chicken wings, among many, many other options. They also have a good selection of drinks here, including the house-made sangrias that you can get in a flight, which we can definitely recommend. This is definitely destination worthy, and when you're staying here, you should definitely be coming at least once.
If not twice.
Yep.
And then another good lounge here is the Dahlia Lounge, which is on the top floor across from the table service restaurant Toledo. This is a beautiful space with modern decor that fits in perfectly with the Gran Destino Tower theming as a whole. It gives you sweeping views of the resort, and if you're there for the fireworks, you can see the Epcot and Hollywood Studios lights and fireworks from here. So very, very amazing views.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely an underrated gem on the Walt Disney World property. We have to stop singing its praises on this place because honestly, we don't want it to get too popular. The menu features delicious tapas style bites and a good selection of Spanish cocktails, wines, and beer.
Yep, exactly. All right, next up, let's head to the Skyliner Resorts, and we're first stopping at the Riviera Resort. This resort is one of Walt Disney World's newest additions. It's a DVC resort proper, and it opened in 2019. It's a deluxe resort and has fairly limited dining options, but what they do have is stellar. First, let's head to Bar Riva, which is near the pool. It has fun Mediterranean vibes with like bright blue tiles, reminiscent of something you'd see in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
The seating is open air and covered, and it's a really nice space overlooking the resort grounds and the water beyond. It has a good selection of salads and light bites, as well as shareable options like baked brie and the cheese and charcuterie board. And a sleeper hit on their menu is actually found on the dessert menu, and that's the Riviera cookie skillet topped with pistachio gelato, which is definitely worth getting for sure. They also have a great selection of cocktails that fit in with the resort's theming.
And then on the top floor of the resort, you've got Topolino's Terrace, Flavors of the Riviera. For breakfast, this is a character meal with Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy, and it's a wonderful meal. Hands down, we can't recommend this enough. 100% recommend it. It's our favorite character dining,
yeah.
Especially and for breakfast. Oh, top notch.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, it becomes a beautiful signature dining experience with French and Italian inspired cuisine. And I'm sure you can see where we're going with this. It has a first come, first served bar where you can order items from the main restaurant and then enjoy some great drinks. The terrace has great views of the resort, the Caribbean Beach Resort, which is right next door, and of Epcot and Hollywood Studios area as well.
Yeah, exactly. And very close to the Riviera Resort is the Caribbean Beach Resort. You can actually walk from Riviera to the Caribbean in like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how quickly you walk. If you want to grab the Skyliner from the Riviera or the Caribbean Beach Resort hub, it's not far at all to walk to either station from either resort. With that said, at this resort, we're heading to Banana Cabana. This is another covered open air lounge with really fun theming and light pastel colors. It definitely has like a Caribbean feel. It's attached to Sebastian's Bistro, which is a table service restaurant, and you can get many of the best options from that menu here as well. They also have a good selections of fruity cocktails that you'd expect to see at a Caribbean themed bar, right? It fits in perfect. It has really fun vibes here, and definitely it's worth a stop if you're staying here or if you can't get a table next door, but that's generally not hard to do regardless.
All right, next up, we're heading on over to Disney Springs area resorts, and specifically at the Port Orleans resorts. We're going to kick things off with French Quarter at Scat Cats Club. The space itself is not overly themed, but it does have a stage where live jazz musicians will play Friday through Sunday evenings, which is really the reason you might want to come here. On top of that, you can get delicious eats like the pimento cheese fritters and the delicious Mickey beignets as well. They also have some fun Southern cocktails as well as beer and wine. Again, not destination worthy, but definitely worth stopping if you're staying here.
Yeah, and just up the road, a short walk away, is the Port Orleans Riverside Resort. Here you're going to find the River Roost Lounge. The menu is similar to what you're going to find at Scat Cats, including the fritters, but minus the beignets. But the draw again here is the entertainment. So here's where you're going to find Yeehaw Bob Jackson, who plays the piano and sings away in great performances. He's widely loved, and therefore this show is like super, super popular. He normally plays Wednesday through Sunday evenings between 8:30 and 11:45 p.m. And it can get quite crowded and rowdy when he's performing, but it's definitely a fun show and definitely worth checking out if you're staying here.
All right, next, let's head into Disney Springs. As you know, there's no shortage of dining options here, but when it comes to lounges, there are a few that stand out and are definitely worth a visit for sure. Our first stop should come as no surprise, but we're heading on over to Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar. This is another bar whose theming alone makes it worthwhile to stop here. There are so many details, layers, and nod to the Indiana Jones franchise. If you're a fan, you'll love unraveling all the details that went into designing the space, and even if you're not, you'll be able to appreciate the intricate detail in the space here. The menu is solid, and they have some staples as well as some seasonal twists depending on the time of year. Some standout options are the Air Pirates Cargo Loaded Pretzel, the Chicken on the Egg, the Bread Dip Pyramid, among others. They also have a strong selection of cocktails here that will rotate depending on the time of year. Some staples are the Air Pirates Mule, the Fountain of Youth, and Reggie's Revenge, among many, many others. This is a must-do in Disney Springs, in our opinion.
Yeah, 100%. You have to come here at least once just to check out the inside, if nothing else. Grab a drink, grab a quick bite, but the inside is just unreal.
Absolutely.
So well themed.
One of my friends from work, his wife is a pilot.
Yeah.
And that's like her favorite place to go.
Exactly.
She just loves it.
Yeah. And not far from here, you're going to find the Dockside Bar, which is part of the Boathouse Table Service Restaurant. This one is located behind the restaurant on the pier and overlooks the water and kind of Disney Springs and Saratoga Springs Resort just beyond. This is a really beautiful setting and a great place to come for a drink and some good food. As you may have guessed, you can get menu items from the main menu here, which is extensive with everything from finger foods to fine steaks and seafood. There will be something here that will appeal to everyone. Like the Boathouse in general is like super... It's like everyone's restaurant. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In that you can get pretty much anything,
Seafood,
any type of food.
steak,
exactly.
pasta.
Like kids will find something
chicken
here.
fingers, salads.
Picky adults will find something here. Like if you want to be a little bit more adventurous, you'll find some things here. So
the Boathouse is a really good family option.
Yeah, for sure.
So next up, we're going to head on over to Raglan Road. And we debated putting this one on the list because it is a full-blown table service restaurant, but the space itself is actually a pub. It's authentic, so much so that the wood that forms the bar was imported from Ireland. It has dark-colored wood accents and is exactly what you would expect to find from a pub located somewhere in the UK. We have been to many a pub in the UK. We can vouch they have done a good job.
Yeah, 100%.
The menu features some solid eats like fish and chips, of course, bangers and mash, among many other options. You'll also have a very extensive menu of beer, whiskey, scotch, and then other cocktail options. They have live performers here as well, and it's friendly for kids. So when it comes to bars and lounges on property, this place does it right, and it's definitely worth trying at least once.
Yeah, agreed 100%. And the last one we'll mention here is Wine Bar George. Again, this is a table service restaurant, but it definitely feels more like a bar, hence the name.
It does.
The menu features tapa-style bites, right, that are more made to be shared than anything else, right? There's a massive wine list curated by Master Sommelier George Miliotis, and they also have a good selection of cocktails. And we're partial to the frosé here. We actually had 2 glasses each when we ate here on our last trip.
Delicious. Yeah.
Some of the standouts on the menu are the crispy mac and cheese bites.
Delicious.
The saganaki on fire.
Delicious.
Their charcuterie and cheese board was really good. And also, and it might sound like not like something
like kind of plain Jane,
but the house-made hummus. It was so smooth, so creamy. We loved it. I also am I love hummus.
You love hummus, yeah.
But it was really, really good. We can definitely recommend this space as well.
Absolutely. The saganaki on fire.
It's essentially
so good.
It's essentially
cheese on fire.
Exactly, a chunk of cheese that they flame, and then so after that it's kind of like melted and kind of roasted.
And what did we use to dip it?
I think it was like little bread pieces of some kind.
I think so.
Either way,
delicious.
I ate way too much cheese. I don't know how many calories that was, but it was probably like a week's worth in one sitting.
Calories don't count in Disney.
They sure don't. Yeah.
Okay, so that was a lot. We really rattled off a lot of places, but really that should tell you 2 things. 1, there are a lot of lounges across Walt Disney World property, and 2, there are bound to be at least a few of them that you'll want to visit during your trip. Again, what's great about the lounges is that most don't need reservations. They have a lot of the same menu options, and even though they're not the full menus, the best options will be there. The vast majority are kid-friendly and will either have kid options or options that your kids will certainly enjoy.
Yeah, agreed 100%. Some of the best themed places on all of Disney property are the lounges, right? So think Trader Sam's Grog Grotto and Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar.
Bogus Cantina.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These are perfect examples of that. All you have to do is walk into those spaces and like immediately you're going to feel immersed and really be able to see the thought and care that went into creating these spaces. Honestly, I'm going to be visiting a lot of these places next week, and there's so many good places across property. It's just, it's almost overwhelming, right? And of course, like you don't have to drink to enjoy these lounges, right? That's not a thing. Each and every one of these places offers non-alcoholic drinks or your standard soft drinks and whatnot. So you can absolutely come to any of these places and purely enjoy the atmosphere and the food.
Oh, absolutely. Like we don't often have alcoholic beverages at all, especially when we're with our kids. We're happy to have a pop like a Coke or something and enjoy some really good food. We rarely drink pop, like never at home. So when we're on vacation, it's the only time we'll drink it. And I'm a sucker for a good crispy Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
On vacation, it just tastes 10 times better.
Agreed 100%. With that said, thank you for joining us today to talk Disney lounges. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And as always, if you could leave us a rating and review, it would be greatly appreciated. If you choose to do so, you can leave reviews right on Apple Podcasts. And for Spotify, you can leave a rating.
You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at letsgo.to-disney, as well as on our Facebook page, Let's Go to Disney. We share some helpful reels here, as well as some fun ones. The link tree in the show notes will take you to all of our socials.
Have a great day, and we'll see you real soon.